Hello, YouTube. What's going on? Sunday night closer. What's happening? I got me and Tupperware so far. I have some links out to some other people. We'll see if anybody else has a chance to jump in. I was gonna go live last week. I put out an Instagram thing. I said, I think I'm gonna switch to Saturdays. Pulled the computer out, and right as I was getting it set up, notification popped up for Guns and Barbecue. Moon Guns and Barbecue. I totally wasn't thinking that those guys go live on Saturday nights. So I ended up not going live. I didn't want to go live the same time they were. Sometimes they jump on the show here, and I didn't want to step on anybody's toes. So I ended up just deciding to do it tonight. MKJO's out there. What's going on, buddy? And like I said, I got some other links out. It's just me and Tupperware right now. Got a couple of articles pulled up we can talk about, and we'll see what happens. How you doing, man? What's up?
Well, Tuesday, Ohio is going to be the actual true constitutional carry state that is 22 and 22.
Oh, it went through there?
Not yet. Tuesday will be the 10-day rule, where if DeWine doesn't veto, it'll go into automatic thing.
So what do you think? Do you think it'll go through?
I think he wants to get reelected, and the fact that May 3rd is the primary, where he has a good chance of losing, I think he'll just let it go through because he wants to appease everybody at this point.
Yeah, and that way he doesn't have to sign it in, and he doesn't have to veto it, and he can just kind of be mushy about it, huh? Do you think that's what's going on?
My assumption is at this point, because it's been like 8 days already and he hasn't done anything with it, that it'll be like, oh, oops, I thought I was supposed to do something today. I didn't realize I was supposed to veto that thing today.
Yeah, that's weird to. I think that's very odd to have something come across your desk and to have it automatically go in after 10 days without signing or vetoing it. That's sketchy. It really shows that it shows that like you said, he wants to try and please everybody, or not just please everybody, but to also be able to go to everybody and be like, well, I really didn't sign it in. And so once it's in, do you know this? Like, if he doesn't sign it, he doesn't veto it, whatever, and it goes into law, what's the process to get it taken off the books? I mean, that's probably a real big pain in the ass, right?
Oh, it'd be a whole thing then. There's been, actually, when we had Stand Your Ground go into effect, it would have been the end of December is when they finally passed it through the legislature of 2020. And he didn't sign it. That was the thing. DeWine didn't sign that into place until day 10, which was not really like day 20 because there was a bunch of different time period there where we had a whole bunch of different things like the New Year and stuff like that. And because they can't sign them into place then. So he had like 18 or 20 days to sign it then. And the only reason he signed it in then is because people were like, dude, you're up for re-election. He's like, oh yeah, that's right. Sign this into place. And then there was there was a state rep that's no longer a state rep. And there was a state senator who is going to be termed at the end of the year who are not trying to sue on that one because they're like, oh, you guys passed this in this late night hour. And it's like, yeah, and if you hadn't taken 6 months of breaks, y'all could have done it like 6 months before that, dude.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I assume that we'll have a bunch of anti-gunners try to sue us over this whole thing, but it's like, good luck with that, bro.
Yeah, I did not hear that it was. I mean, we were hearing about Ohio for a while. You kind of get numb to it a little bit, and I didn't even realize that it had gotten to the point where it is now. That's just pretty cool.
Well, the thing was, we had two different bills going on as well. We had a House bill and we had a Senate bill that were various configurations of each other. The only thing I dislike about the version that they actually got to DeWine's desk is they put really stupid amendments in it, like Terry stops, which are no need for that. There's also another one about, it's similar to where Colorado, where they have, if you get like a medical weed card or whatever, you lose your concealed carry license. It's a similar thing to that in there as well, where it's, if you actually have like any kind of medical weed card in the state of Ohio, you just can't have a gun at all then.
Well, that sucks. And that's bullshit. If they're going to allow you to, I mean, they're not going to pull your permit because you have a prescription for OxyContin or a prescription for, some kind of something for, depression, or something for, pain, any kind of pain or whatever, but they're going to pull it for that. If you're allowed to have it, you're allowed to have it. I mean, that's stupid. That's bullshit.
Well, the worst part about that is it directly affects a lot of vets in this state that have PTSD.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, it affects tons and tons of people, I'm sure. I mean, it'd be the same in any other, Pennsylvania, as medical marijuana, and we have a tons of permits. I mean, we're actually one of the states with the most permits, I think, in the United States. And we couldn't get anywhere with constitutional carry this year, but maybe
you guys got it all the way to the desk. So. Wolf's just a piece of shit that vetoed it, though.
Yeah,
that was the big problem right there.
Next year, when Wolf's not in, hope maybe it'll go through. Our laws. What's something else that kind of holds it back, maybe to kind of. I mean, this is maybe an odd thing, but our carry laws are pretty good. So if our carry laws were worse, more people would probably push for constitutional carry. So, I think that might actually hold constitutional carry back a little bit, because people are like, well, let's not rock the boat because we're things are pretty good here. But we do have a ton of permits. So, it would be interesting to see what happens. I mean, it would be interesting to see for sure what would happen, if we went to constitutional carry, if it would change the way that people carry, or, if they start carrying open more and that kind of stuff. So, we'll see. But that's cool. I mean,
rule, Indiana has a 7-day one, and theirs actually, if Holcomb doesn't veto it, will go into effect on Wednesday.
Wow. It's a lot then, man. If those two go through, I mean, how many would it be in the past 12 months? I mean, like 4 or 5, something like that. It's quite a few.
Yeah, Texas was 21 at the end of last year, and then it would be everything from this year then.
Yeah, it's a bunch. That's cool. It's a neat movement to see sort of snowball, Gizzard, what's going on, Gary? How you doing, buddy?
Yeah, I'm doing all right. I just wanted to see if this show was still on or not, man. I didn't know if it's still a thing or not.
Yeah, just been having a hard time finding the time for it, and I was gonna switch to Saturdays, like I said earlier. I was gonna switch to Saturdays, and then started to get it set up, and then I got a notification for Barbecue and Moo, and I decided not to. I was like, I don't want to go live with them, because they go live on Saturday. So just gonna possibly move Sundays up a little bit, or keep them a little bit shorter, to the best of my ability. Try not to do these marathon shows, because I've been I've been dragging on Mondays. It's been hard. So to then get up and I get the little guy to school and get to work and do all the stuff I got to do in the morning. So it's been tough. But thanks for stopping in, man. How are you guys? How are you doing? How's Kansas?
Oh, Kansas is about like Kansas always is. We had temperatures in the mid-60s today. It's kind of nice. Melted all the snow. Had to do a 4-hour show this morning, and then drive to my daughter's and feed her dogs. So they're out of town, out of state for this week, because the kids' mother passed away this last week. So I'm taking care of their pets while they're gone. So that's an hour and a half drive just to their house.
We've been all over the place with weather. We've had anything from like the 50s down to the 20s. We got some snow. Started Friday night, Saturday morning through Saturday. Got a couple inches of snow. It'll probably be the last one, but who knows? It was weird. Just all of a sudden, I mean, you look at the Weather Channel app, and it's just like, 30, 40, 50, 40, 30, 20, 50, 60. Like, what the hell is going on? It's crazy. It's hard to plan anything for sure. And Ape, what's going on, buddy? How you doing, man?
What the hell? You are alive.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. Moving on from that. Not a whole lot. I had a surprise weekend off, so
Oh, very
good
cool.
timing. Yep, it was going to be one of those things where first of the month, supervisor came up to me and said, "Hey, we got some stuff that's going to be stopping production in the next month or so, but we need to get like all of it done. So can you work Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then next Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then the Friday, Saturday, Sunday after that?" It's like, okay, I was going to take the week off and see if I couldn't make it down to Wanamaker. Came in on, or talked to him on Wednesday about this weekend, and said, nope, corporate saw the overtime hours and said, no, knock it off. That's a bad supervisor. We don't do
that. hit him with a rolled up newspaper? No, smack.
I don't know. Maybe the phone cord, but
yeah. It's weird. Phones got cords. I watched a Instagram comp, like a video of it was like kids not knowing how to do stuff, and one of them was like they were at a hotel or a motel or something, and they're probably on vacation or whatever, and the dad was on the phone, and he handed the little girl, and she was probably like, I don't know, 8 or something, and obviously, I mean, apparently has never seen like a corded phone. It's always been like, iPhones or cell phones or whatever, or cordless phones. And he was like, here, hang this up. And she's looking at it, and she's like, where's the button? How do you hang it up? There's no screen or whatever. And he's like, what? He's like, hang it up. And she's like, what are you talking about? just looked freaking serious, too. And it was funny. He's like, he yelled to his wife. He's like, she can't hang up the phone. It's funny. And she came into the picture and grabbed it and like put it back down on the set or whatever, the handset.
I mean, if you really want to melt their brains, give them a rotary phone and tell them, here,
yeah,
call the local place and get us a medium pepperoni with sausage.
It take you 10 minutes to dial it. Yeah, if you're dialing long distance, it takes you like 5 minutes to get all the numbers out. Yeah, it was funny. She was like she was like, what are you talking about? She got all freaked out. It's funny. And roll call, what's going on, buddy?
I figured this hole would get canceled. God, what are you doing over here? What are you doing over here?
Somebody might still cancel me. We don't know. I don't think I've said anything cancel worthy yet, but it's probably coming.
We can't get canceled. We have tenure.
Oh, you got tenure? Oh.
Yeah, some things were paid to some people and some stuff happened, so we have tenure because we know where the bodies are buried.
Well, shit. It's not 20 isn't 20 anymore. It's 25 due to inflation. So 25 is 25 now. So
yeah.
I'm surprised you did a show tonight, man. I'm happy. I want to be on is this called the return of the closer? Is this like funny. Return of the Jedi?
This is the 200th episode.
Wow, 200, big number.
Double syndication.
I changed the title to Return of the Closer. How about that?
Yeah, Return of the Closer, man. You ain't been on forever.
Yeah, I know. I had all sorts of stuff going on, and we've had, the other week I was having trouble with the internet. I was. The computer locked up on me. The internet went down, even though I was plugged in. It froze up, and I tried to reboot it, and it didn't. Then it decided to do an update, and that whole shit. I've had little guy's been sick a couple nights. As you've got some of you guys got kids. It's just like it's crazy. They're fine. In the middle of the night, he woke up 2 weeks ago and threw up, and so just had to go upstairs and pull the sheets off the bed and do all that stuff. It was a mess. It's just things kept happening. There was just 1 or 2 times where I've just got a lot going on, and I was just like, dude, I'm wiped out. I need to sleep. We need to get to bed. It's tough. I'm hoping to, like I said earlier, I'm hoping to start just going a little bit earlier on Sundays, doing like an hour and a half and calling it a night. So we can, so I can get up to bed. I know, with the little dude's been having some trouble sleeping some of these nights too. He's been waking up. He woke up like three times the other night, Friday night, I guess it was. So, it's rough. having some bad dreams, you know.
I can't see the chat, so tell everybody I said hi. I can't see the chat. I'm on my
Absolutely.
phone.
Yeah, Foss is out there, Mike's out there, Tactical Fud, Gizzard, Steven Sheets, what's going on, Steve? Ape's out there, Mad Sexy's out there, what's up? You're out there. Ozzy Osbourne's out there. Obviously, the dogs are still downstairs, so if you hear them bark, I apologize. TPC's out there, what's going on? So, Gunpowder, what's going on? She's got a new creature at home. If you see Instagram, that mailman she must have a good looking mailman. I don't know. That was a good looking little creature she brought home. Revolver's out there. What's going on, buddy? So, do a couple of articles here. Let's see what we got going on. So I got a couple pulled up here. Share screen. Computer's running slow, a little slow, so you gotta bear with me here. I don't know. I did the updates and running a little slow. Not sure why. All right. So, I know it's been a couple of weeks since it happened, but, what does the Sandy Hook settlement mean for future gun manufacturer lawsuits? And the reason I pulled this up was Rokol's dad, Joe Biden, is still like in the State of the Union last week or the other week, was still saying that gun manufacturers are immune to lawsuits, right? Said it right there in the old defragment your computer. I don't know what does that mean. Blow it up with like a claymore or something. I don't know. Still saying, hey, gun manufacturers are immune to lawsuits. Well, yeah, you dumb bastard. So is everybody else. We've been saying this forever. If you drive a F-150 into somebody, plow into them and kill them, you can't sue Ford. But, and this wasn't a lot of people are misconstruing this as they sued and won, or somebody sided with them. And that's not what happened. Remington settled, which I don't really know why they did. Business wise, somebody figured that it was the way to go. A legal battle between families of Sandy Hook and the manufacturer of the weapon has come to an end. $73 million. It's back in December. We've talked about why they're talking about the ad. It's get your man card back. That bullshit. Not that should ever matter. The family suit was initially filed in Connecticut court and languished in the system for years before they successfully appealed to move into the state's Supreme Court. Connecticut justices ruled that the case could proceed based on their broad interpretation of the state statute known as the Unfair Trade Practices Act. An exception in the federal PLCCA allows litigation against a gun maker if they are found to have violated a law applicable to the sale or marketing of a product. The Supreme Court agreed after denying an appeal, which argued there was no real evidence that the marketing influenced the shooting. So I think they just, they basically just beat him up. They just beat him up long enough. And, I think they figured like they're pumping so much money into this, they're just going to make it go away. What will this mean for future lawsuits against gun makers? Gun rights groups and the industry leaders are confident the Remington settlement will have little to no effect on their future lawsuits, as their federal liability protection remains in effect. But legal experts say it might lead to manufacturers re-examining their advertising tactics or even ending sales of assault weapons. Some popular retailers like Dick's, Kroger, Walmart have already done so. Others believe the groundbreaking case will likely prompt insurers to pressure their clients to avoid marketing practices or design choices similar to those used by Remington. The deal is a setback to the gun industry because the plaintiffs were able to work around the PLCAA by providing that Remington's marketing violated Connecticut state consumer law, which I don't really understand that. Similar litigation forging a clearer path for lawsuits against gun manufacturers and retailers has been introduced or adopted in few other states, including New York, New Jersey, and California. Go figure. Those three, right? So I don't know, who knows what's going to happen with, in the future here. Obviously, I don't know what was in the settlement, what they are allowed to do and allowed to not allowed to do. Do you guys have any, I know this has been talked about a bunch, but do you guys have any opinion on this?
Yeah, a lot of that settlement was actually the lawyer groups. It wasn't actually Remington because they'd already gone out of business at that point, been sold off to other companies.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just the lawyer groups actually settled. That was the whole reason why it was that amount of money, was because that was how much the lawyer groups were willing to actually be like, hey, this is what we have to give you, period. And they're like, okay, cool.
So we go from that one. Let me find this other one that's there. It is. So, and this one kind of grabbed my attention a little bit because I saw the headline and I was like, oh, okay, well, let's talk about this. Family can sue Jeep because it failed to install available parking devices, Arizona court says, which this is a little misconstrued. After reading, going through the article, it's not that somebody wanted that and they forgot to install it or didn't install it. It's basically saying that it's part of a package that is quite expensive. And this just brings up a kind of an interesting question about how cars are bought. It says the family of a little girl who was killed when her mother's car rear-ended by a Jeep on a Phoenix freeway can sue the SUV's manufacturer for wrongful death because it did not install automatic emergency braking devices that were available as optional equipment. The Arizona court ruled Tuesday. The court rejected arguments from lawyers for Jeep parent company Fiat, that the National Highway Transportation Safety Administration's decision not to require the devices preempted the state lawsuit. So these are not required, but they're available. They're also not available. We'll say a la carte, as a restaurant term, which means you can just pick and choose one thing. They're done as a package, and the package is 10. Gelfi said the 2014 Jeep could have been equipped with Fiat Chrysler's version of automatic emergency braking, but it was only included as an option with a package upgrade that added $10,000 to its price. So this is kind of interesting. So I understand what kind of, as far as ordering cars and stuff, you go to a dealership and you order, you upgraded package. You could order a F1, like we were talking about F-150s. You order F-150, then you could order an XLT. You could order a Lariat. You could order a King Ranch. You could order, whatever the hell you want. And each one of those is going to come with specific options. And then there's probably options you can get in between there. So I just thought this was an interesting case because, we're talking about the Remington thing and them settling out of court for something that nobody in their right mind would really believe is Remington's fault. If I grab a knife and stab somebody and kill them, they're not going to call, Dexter Russell and be like, yo, this guy used a Dexter Russell knife to kill somebody, so we're going to sue you. Again, here, Jeep has it. It's an option. They decided not to put it on there, but they're saying, well, it's something that they could have put on, so it's their fault or they're liable, which I think is kind of crazy. I do see a point in saying like, in seeing like, okay, it itself, it would have cost, if it would have cost $1,000 to put that system on there, are you available? Is it available for you to get just that for $1,000? And if not, it kind of sucks that it's in a package for 10 grand. That's a lot of money. So if you guys are following what I'm saying, so that I could see that changing the car industry a little bit, where you could go in and pick and choose maybe each individual thing, but that's really going to lengthen the time it's going to take to get a car, because it's like, it then becomes like a boutique service where you're ordering a car in this color with these things on it. And, it's going to take you freaking 6 months to get a car. The new ones are going to be out by the time you get your last year's car. Foss says they could have refused to sell the Jeep to her in the first place. There wouldn't have been an accident. True. Yeah. So, yeah, I look at this and I'm thinking like, I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, well, how could it be somebody's fault for not? How can it be the company's fault for somebody choosing not to have an option on their car, right? No. What do you guys think?
I mean, I can sort of see both sides on this one. Jeep making it to where to get this option, you have to buy $10,000 worth of stuff. It's kind of bogus. It's like they're making this only accessible to the richest customers, a very valuable safety option. On the other hand, it's not like it's anything new, and it's not like, they sold the thing without brakes. So,
well, yeah, and that's, part of me thinks the same thing too. It's like, well, it sucks that it's so much, but at the same time, you make a decision to buy that vehicle, right? You make a decision to buy that vehicle. You decided to buy a vehicle without that feature. So how is it the company's fault? Lots of people buy guns without safeties on them. It's the kind of thing that, like, if you have a negligent discharge, it's not the gun manufacturer's fault for allowing you to buy a gun without a safety. If you rip one through your leg, it's kind of the same thing. So, and that's where I just kind of take, like, I thought it was an interesting kind of parallel to, it's an interesting parallel to some of the things that have happened with firearms is, people make a choice, and it's not the manufacturer. It shouldn't be the manufacturer's fault because you made a decision to own something that is considered safe or is not, or if there's an accident with it, it hasn't had a, it's not because it's defective in any way. So,
what'll happen is, if this isn't struck down eventually, any kind of new safety features like this, people are just car manufacturers are going to start throwing these on the base models, and they'll just jack the prices up, and not that they aren't already high enough.
Right.
You're not going to be able to touch a car under $40,000 anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's true. They start, and that's kind of how it is. That's kind of how it is now with certain things. If I know there's some cars that I've gotten into that are cars that you see, and it's like, you think like, oh, that's kind of crazy that's stock or that comes with it. But then you're looking at, like a $40,000 or $45,000 car, and it's got a bunch of cool stuff on it, which I understand, which is nice. But yeah, you're paying for it for sure. I could see that point where you're saying like, well, base model cars are going to go up to $45,000 instead of $30,000 or $25,000 or whatever. You also have you start seeing manufacturers in the fine print. You have refused, or you have opted not to have this optional safety feature, and that's drive at your own risk kind of thing. Like, if you slam into the back of somebody, it's not our fault you chose not to have the automatic braking. I don't know. Just thought it was an interesting kind of thing. Gee, what's going on, buddy? How you doing?
Hey, thanks for the link.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see what's next.
What are you even talking about there? Was that about a car seat or a car or a?
It was a car. Yeah, basically it was a Jeep. Somebody got into an accident. Somebody got rear-ended by another person in a Jeep. Their little girl died, which is super sad. The Jeep did not have an automatic braking feature, but it was available. But it was available in a package. It would have cost an extra $10,000. So they're actually allowing a lawsuit to go through to sue Jeep because
they had the audacity to suggest that a safety thing was an option.
Right. So they're saying that Jeep, they're saying that this feature, which would have cost like whatever, $500 or $1,000, should have been on the car because it was available no matter what. Like it should be on, because it's available, it should be on all of them, which is like saying, everything's available, right? Like there's all sorts of stuff that's available. Like
are available. Like, those things that don't let you start the car unless you're not drunk.
That's a great point. Like that's available. So maybe we should put those on every car. Right. That's actually a great point. I didn't even think of that. I just thought it was an interesting, because we were reading about the Remington, the settlement from Sandy Hook. And this article popped up, and I thought it had some parallels to what happens with what's happening in firearms, where you see somebody suing for somebody's legal choice. It's everybody's choice to have or not have those features.
Can I go dark?
Yeah, go ahead.
What if this is to make it look like capitalism is failing, and if this was all just run by the government, then it would be a lot easier because they would care. They take care of people.
True. And that's kind of what, is kind of underlying here is the fact that they, everything should be, if there's a safety feature available, it should be on there no matter what. And, and Gary brought up the point. He's like, well, then base model cars are all going to be $45,000 instead of $25,000 because they're going to have to put everything on them. It's an interesting kind of talk about for sure.
Or they'll be like, hey, we figured out all we got to do is put foam into this instead of air, and now it saves more lives. And they'll be like, shut up.
Well, that's what it's originally, when I read this, I was like, well, hell, they're going to be like, well, if we wrap the cars in 3 feet worth of Nerf, they're going to be super, so much more safer now. So, we're all going to be driving around with 3 feet of Nerf on each side.
Then you run into the problem of when it does catch fire, it's like wearing a nylon. It's like wearing a windbreaker and catching fire, only much, much worse.
You remember the movie Demolition Man? They got in an accident and the whole inside of the car fills up with that foam. The safety foam, and it blows. That's what'll be next. Instead of an airbag blowing up, the whole thing's going to fill up with a foam and kind of cocoon you so you don't get hurt.
Yeah, but didn't SIG all those SIGs that the cops shot themselves? Didn't they try and sue SIG for that, saying the safety feature didn't work? Remember that?
Yeah, but that is a safety feature that's a little different though, because that's like having a car with a braking device on it and the braking device not working. It's it's different.
It wasn't good enough.
Well, that and a fair amount of those were shown to be, no, your finger was where it shouldn't have been when you were monkeying with it. So
it's illegal to sue gun manufacturers, so it's illegal.
Right.
Now, at the risk of sounding like an absolute horrible, horrible human being.
Okay, go ahead. I'm listening.
Okay, the family who is suing Jeep, they rear-ended somebody else and their child died, correct?
It's the people with the child that sued, or is it the people in the Jeep?
No, it's the people with the child. Yeah.
So they got hit.
They got hit, or they hit and.
No, the people in the Jeep caused the accident. The people and the victims, so the daughter was in the car that got hit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I was thinking it was the other way around, and that little voice in the back of my head was thinking, okay,
no,
so
I
what
can
was
see
this?
it.
What was this child doing
Right.
that
Well, no,
caused
I
it
would.
to die? But if they
I
got
could see
rear-ended,
it being the way you were saying it, though, that the
Yeah.
person who was like, well, Jeep made this be an option, and now I got to live with the fact that I had to make a choice between that 10 grand, and now I got to live with this rest of my life. Like that's got to be a thing that I could see being a tough thing. But at the same time, I never thought I would be drinking, how about this? Like, I don't drink, so I didn't get the breathalyzer thing. But then uncles or like Aunt Sue, who's always drinking, used my car, and now this happened. If only I would have paid for that thing that even I don't need. You know what I mean? They can guilt trip you into anything. 2020 hindsight, whatever that's called.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Some of this has just got to be like, oh, I'm a lawyer and I'd like to make money and I heard about something, so let's sue. And then every once in a while, that goes through and then somebody makes money and then the news is like, hey, I'm a newspaper and I like to make money. So this doesn't necessarily mean like a trend or like the world's ending or like the legal system has failed or something, right?
Yeah, and it is a little bit of like, let's see what sticks, right? So, and that's where you see this, and I'm trying to let me skim through this and see if it says where it is in.
Nothing about all them ads on the right side of this website screams classy, valid, like authentic news to me. You know what I'm saying? This is like,
Yeah. Let me see if it says where it is in the courts. If it's like, yeah, I don't know. It doesn't say. Yeah, the last thing it says here is Gelfi, which is the Varela's lawyer, which are the ones that, that their daughter died. It says called automakers' failure to universally adopt automatic emergency braking, a nationally supported and fundamental issue. Which and like I say, I wouldn't fight it too much if manufacturers decided that they have this option on their car to all do it. I think it'd probably be great. It'd probably be a good idea, but
it's $10,000 because it's something. It's not like, oh, all you got to do is turn the screw the other way and it saves lives.
Well, I will.
You're ready to turn it the other way.
I will say this: that $10,000 is for a package that includes that and a bunch of other stuff. So if they would,
it's 10 grand, it could be 2 grand or something. Okay.
Right. I think they said that it cost here it is. He said automakers have been incredibly slow to adopt the crash prevention technology while noting how automakers have adopted airbags and other safety features to protect occupants. The item costs automakers about $100.
Now, is that $100 raw material without going into the entire manufacturing chain or all the stuff related with the development of this system? Because it's not just, here's a little sensor. It's probably like an additional software package of it's got to calculate the speed. It's got to be able to take control over the brakes and the accelerators. And as far as that whole adopting airbags and other safety features, seatbelts, mandatory across the U.S. in 1987, 1988. Airbags, sometime in the 90s. Stability control systems in the early 2000s, all government mandated.
Mm-hmm.
So
on the back of trucks. I mean, how many times have trucks been wailed on because of one accident?
Yeah.
Right.
Here's something: that third brake light, the one that sits above, that was that's government mandated from the 80s.
What about the other review mirror? That they don't put that on there because it costs less money to put another review mirror on there. That was a thing, right?
The center rear.
Yeah, you got to have two, right?
Well, you only had
probably
one too, but for a while, sometimes cars just had one for the driver, and then
it was on the driver's side only. Yeah.
Anyway. Now all of a sudden they put it on there, and then it did that whole like little thing on there. What does it say? Objects in mirror. There's no way they just put that on there because it costs less to put it on there.
Mm-hmm. It says that bundle, that package, they take a safety feature and they bundle it together with moonroof and leather seats and non-safety features. So you can only get the safety feature if you buy the upgraded trim level, which is, I think, is a valid point. Now, whether it's worthy of suing the company over,
If it was something like, if you get the extra brakes, then we can add this safety feature because you got the extra brakes. But if you want the extra safety feature without the extra brakes, well, we can't, that doesn't work. Like he was saying, like it doesn't, then that would be, it's not $100. Then it's a lot more. But if it's literally like they just decided, whatever, like kids aren't going to care about this. So let's move it to where, it makes more sense to like middle-aged people or people with, whatever their marketing thought. Then I guess it seems a little bit more nefarious, but guess what? We're capitalists, and right, we can go, hey, that's lame, Jeep. Like, why don't you move that over? I don't think they need a law. I think people will just go, hey, Jeep, what the heck? It's $100, and then what do we see? Like next year, it'll be on the base model or something, right?
Right, and that's what I think is going to happen, and that's probably what should happen. Is you see a lot of things that are base model options. Why not push for base model options to be safety features too, and not just having a 7-inch screen, up, flip up screen, what I mean, and some of the GPS stuff and all that kind of stuff. And I know, I'll be honest, like some of the GPS stuff is probably, you can almost consider that a safety feature too, because you're not looking at your phone, you're not fiddling with your phone, that kind of stuff. I can kind of backtrack on that a little bit, I guess. But I mean, it would be nice to see that. Now, is it something that you should be able to sue a company over? I don't think so. I think it's an option, and you made a choice, and and it is what it is, unfortunately. But I could definitely see in the future these things, like, even if it costs them $100 and it's $1,000, or start seeing people. Start seeing them break that out of the package and not be a $10,000 package, only be $1,000 upgrade.
Well, it reminds me of the McDonald's when the people burnt themselves with coffee. It's like you knew the coffee was hot. You knew it was going to be really hot coming in there. You knew it was going to be hot going in the cup. And you knew it was going to be hot if it burnt you. But you still spilt it on you. And you sued McDonald's, and now they have to put the thing on the cup.
That's hindsight. There's a documentary that's really good about that lady, like trying to give that lady credit for what she did. But McDonald's corporation was basically cranking their coffee up to whatever the degrees were, really hot, so that when people who were taking it to work would get to work or whatever, it would still be hot. And for whatever reason, somebody at corporate said that's a good idea. And then what happened was they kept getting sued all the time, and it was just like, here's $1,000, leave us alone. Here's $1,000, leave us alone. And instead of just changing the booklet, because it was just a dumb booklet, it was the thing to kind of take the corporations and shake them by the collars. And you can't shake them by the collars pre-internet, right? You could take them to Oprah, maybe. Like you could go to some kind of like congressional hearing. Right? There was a few options back before the internet. So you took them to court and you sued them for a bunch of money. It's not like she's rich and she was like, I figured out a loophole to sue McDonald's. And McDonald's, the poor corporation, lost money. McDonald's, the poor corporation, was like basically screwing people left and right who were hurting themselves and people. I mean, can you imagine? This was like piping hot coffee that people weren't expecting. I mean, people were not expecting it. Some people, you could say that all you want on 2020 hindsight, but in real life, got like 1,000 things going on. You don't expect your coffee to be a heat grenade that is going to spill on you or your kids or something. Come on, this is breakfast time, right? People going to work and stuff. This was
but you don't expect people to slam into you every 5 minutes, but it does happen. I mean, what are we going to do? Wrap ourselves in bubble wrap? Maybe these people should have wrapped their kid in a bunch of bubble.
That documentary, dude. This is an old lady who got second-degree burns on her genitals, and the corporation was like, "See you, lady. You can't do nothing about it. Like, here's $1,000 or leave us alone." And then they could just do that to everybody who came to them with everything. And then that changed it to where, I don't know. I mean, again, I'm not trying to champion McDonald's or nothing. I'm just saying McDonald's ain't like the victim here. McDonald's has a lot of marketing into making it to where everybody defends McDonald's and not the little old lady. That little old lady was with second-degree burns on her genitals. A little old grandma with second-degree burns on her genitals because she wanted coffee from McDonald's and didn't realize that it was a heat grenade of liquid that was going to explode on her. So
maybe that's how the people felt about Sandy Hook and Remington being sued.
No, I know,
No,
but I'm just saying that was
no,
she was somebody who was willing to take her genitals and put them on literally public display and say, look, this is messed up that the corporation can just bully people into, and over something. It's not like coffee needs to be 240 degrees or whatever. This was like somebody in something made a note in a manual, and all McDonald's just do it. And some McDonald's managers were like, I'm not going to do it. And they just didn't. And there was no consequences. It's just that because there was in the manual, so many of them did it. And every time somebody would try to sue them, they were like, sue us. What do we care? We're the the biggest corporation, the biggest property owner on the planet. Try to sue us. And I don't know if they're the victim, then they're the victim. But I don't think they're the victim. I think that was watch the documentary. I'm not giving it justice, obviously.
Yeah. I think the thing was that they had a specific temperature. I think, if I remember correctly, they had a temperature in, we'll say their manual that the coffee was supposed to be no more than like 170 degrees or something. And then something came, they started cranking it up and it was like 190 or some crazy shit. Like it was like significantly hotter. So that's where they really got in trouble, was the fact that they were doing something out of, not out of spec, but out of, out of what they were supposed to be doing. And I think that's really where they got burned. No pun intended.
Well,
but that's where they really got screwed.
This to you. So somebody comes in your restaurant and they burn their mouth on the food and they sue you because your food was too hot when it came out of the oven. And they're going to sue you for a couple of $1 million, or they're going to do what G says and make sure that you guys don't ever get away with it. Is that fair?
No, I don't. And that's where I think it's a tough decision. I don't think, I think there is something to be said for, the assumption, you have to assume that something is hot. Like that. And, I know nobody wants, everybody thinks it's stupid to put warnings and disclaimers and everything has to have a warning on it that it's hot. But I mean, obviously that's why companies do it, because that way, it's like, well, you should have known first of all, but now we told you on the packaging that shit's going to be hot. So, I see both sides of it. It's hard not to want to, especially because it was an older woman.
79 years old. I just looked it up.
I was going to say like 80. I was going to say, I thought she was almost 80. Some, 80-year-old grandma got all
79 years old, 3rd-degree burns. She was wearing sweatpants, so it stuck to her skin. She was hospitalized for 8 days, disabled for 2 years. She received medical attention for her burns and was left permanently disfigured. McDonald's, she asked McDonald's originally for $200,000, which was the cost at the time. They gave her, they were going to offer her $800.
Yeah, and that's where it really, and you see something like roll call, like you kind of see, especially with like the fact that
$20,000 was the cost at the time for the medical expenses. This was the 80s.
And that's where I think if something like that would have happened to one of, our kids or something, if we'd have got a hot chocolate or something for one of your kids and you find out that it's supposed to be 150 degrees, but they've been cranking it up to 170 or 180, and your kid gets it and burns the shit out of their mouth, and you go in and you bitch about it, you have to take them to an orthodontist. You have to take them to the ER because, their mouth's all burned up and peeling and messed up. And you go, and it costs you $5,000 in deductibles or something. And you go back to McDonald's and they say, we'll give you $500. You're going to be pissed. And you're going to be like, well, this is fucking bullshit. Like, I can definitely see that side of it. And and you all know me, I'm kind of a wishy-washy kind of person, but like when you put it into terms like that, where, it cost her $20,000 and they offered her $800. Like if they'd offered her the $20,000, we wouldn't be talking about it right now, because she'd have been like, well, I should have known it was hot, and she'd have probably paid her medical bills and walked away. Just like if something happened to your kid, like that, you'd be like, man, I should have made sure it wasn't so hot. I should have checked it before I handed it to him. But okay, whatever. Rob says, then someone could sue their frozen hot chocolate not being hot. Yeah. Foss
I
says the
agree.
difference is
It's not like I
McDonald's had been
have
warned about the temperature. Yeah.
I was 100%. The reason I even bring it up is because I was 100% with you. I'm like, I always thought the same thing. Like, oh man, that's one of those examples of why we live in a litigious society and all that. Then I watched
Right.
that thing that was like basically just explaining her situation and seeing that she was just literally parked trying to put cream in her coffee, and this accident happened. It cost her 20 grand and it permanently disfigured her crotch. She's an 80-year-old lady. It's just messed up. And when she, and then when she finds out that McDonald's basically just does that to people, this 80-year-old lady is like, you know what? I got nothing else. Let's go. Let's take it. Let's go, McDonald's. And then all this happens, right? And she becomes the victor out of this. And then McDonald's, largest, I mean, no fan. I haven't ate at McDonald's since 1989. You're talking to one of the only human beings you're going to meet that hasn't paid a dime to McDonald's since 1989. I've never eaten at McDonald's since 1989, right? I don't like McDonald's. So when I heard about this, that the lady's point of view, I was just so pissed that McDonald's put so much effort into the marketing side of this to make it look like they're the victims. I'm just like, dang it, McDonald's, like, you're just a big evil jerk. I don't like them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's yeah, for sure. It's interesting. I mean, it is a fine line between, like you said, between causing a society to become overly litigious or overly sue happy versus causing corporations to sort of
run rampant.
stay in their lane a little bit, or be reasonable in what they're doing. It's tough. It's tough. It's different for sure. All right. Thanks, guys. I appreciate that. It was good back and forth for sure. You see,
but I'm on the side of, it's messed up when it's like, oh, I fell off the bed, I want to sue, or like, just things that either you cause or that are just kind of normal or obvious or whatever. And I'm not saying I'm down with the idea of having to put labels on everything. I'm not necessarily into the whole like warning sign thing. Just that particular one is just I'm more of like, dang it, McDonald's, for flipping the scenario on that for everybody.
Yeah, and that's for sure. And like I said, when I look at it and without really thinking about it too much, obviously your first instinct is be like, well, yeah, of course it's hot. Like, duh, don't spill it on yourself. But there's
others say, like, put ice cube in it. Like, I don't want it hot. Like, put ice cube in it or something. You could have said that too.
Yeah. Let's see here. What else we got? Got some gun stuff here. Oops, that's not the right thing. Hold on a second. Norma's coming out with a new round. Hello? So there it is. Finally, Jesus. So it sort of looks like the
APX rounds.
Yeah, the APX, or what's the other one? What's the Underwood?
ARX.
Yeah, kind of looks like the Underwoods too. They kind of look like little Phillips head or whatever. Norma introduces new non-expanding NXD defensive ammunition. So they're looking and doing. Are there anywhere? Is there anywhere? Well, the United States or Jersey. So this would be a big deal in Jersey, because Jersey, you can't have hollow points or something like that. So. Says Norma has been receiving a lot of new attention lately with the recent introduction of its new 30 Super Carry cartridge. Despite the introduction of this new cartridge, companies like Norma Ammunition have been continuing to offer carriers new options for some more long-standing popular calibers like 9mm. So it's just interesting. This one's in 9mm. It's a 65 grain, so it's pretty light. Actually, it's very light. But it's 1730 feet per second, so it's super quick. And reloadable. Just seeing if they have any other information on it that's worth looking at. The 65 grain projectiles are traveling at nearly 2,000 feet per second, which is extremely fast compared to modern self-defense handgun cartridges. While the projectile might be light, both the design and velocity of these projectiles should prove to be more than lethal enough to protect yourself against any sort of threat you'll find on the street. Another great feature is this new ammunition is priced at just $20 a box. At the time of writing, these are currently on sale for $17.99. What are your thoughts on this new defensive option being offered by Norma? So, I think if you live in Jersey, something like this comes out, and that's,
solid copper, or
it is a solid copper. No,
Molded
it's a
copper.
molded copper. Okay.
So I'm wondering if they didn't just buy up the patenting rights for those polymer bullets. Let's see. I got boxes of them here someplace.
Yeah.
well,
Yeah,
molded copper could mean that it's copper powder pushed into there.
Maybe centered, maybe, or because I know those ARX or APX. I don't know. I can't read the box. It's too far away. Basically, it's nylon nylon plastic that has copper powder in it to give it more mass.
Really, the projectile?
Yeah.
And that's for hollow. That's for defense.
Yeah, these ones
Marketed for defense.
Yeah,
I didn't know that was out there.
Yeah, they like the round nose stuff. They marketed
So
as good training ammo because you can. And I have done this just to test it. Stood pretty much muzzle foot away from a steel plate, and it just kind of turns into powder once it hits.
Sure. So then, if it's so light, it probably wouldn't fly good as a hollow point anyway.
Probably not as a hollow point.
Yeah. They well, I don't know. I mean, would having the hollow point in the front, sometimes that actually helps in wind shear, right?
I don't know. But if it's like a cup, if it's like a lightweight cup, you know what I mean? Like compared to more like a dart. I guess.
Yeah. I guess it depends on how it's weighted.
Well,
or where the weight is, the distribution.
As a hollow point, because hollow points are meant to, expand out because lead is fairly malleable. Copper hollow points are, designed to fracture and bend at a certain place, whereas this stuff is just hard. It would shatter. I've literally hit this with the hammer and then or dropped it on the ground, and it almost has a ringing sound to it every once in a while. It's not, G.I. Joe Mattel plastic. It's, some pretty dense stuff.
Well, what's interesting about this too is, it's not okay. So it's not a fragmenting ammo. They don't mention that at all. So it is meant to stay together. It's not meant to, like fragment or come apart at all. And it not being solid really does help the manufacturing costs of it, I'm sure. Because you're not having to use solid copper, whatever bars or ingots or whatever, I don't know, whatever, to actually produce them, or you don't have to pour them either. You don't have to melt and pour. Whatever manufacturing process they're using is probably less expensive than going through all that. So that's pretty cool. It'd be interesting to see them work in gel and stuff like that. They don't talk about that at all, how like their penetration and stuff. They talk about penetration, but they don't give any numbers.
Well, I'm going to reserve my judgment until Paul Harrell tested on the meat target. Then we'll
there you go.
Sure
yeah.
It won't matter because that's just going to change people's minds who care or have a choice, or make the choice. Because a bunch of people are just like, yeah, I need ammo. What kind of number do I need? 9? Okay, point me at the kind of 9 I need. And then they're going to get asked, is it for the range or for protection? And then they're going to point it, or okay, what's the cost? You know what I mean? Those kind of people are going to buy it, and they're going to go, oh, it looks different than my other ammo, and put it in their gun and be done with it. That's a lot of people.
I will say this too. If you're, like we talked about New Jersey, not being able to have hollow points, this is something that they would be able to have. but also, yeah. So I mean, it should sell like crazy in Jersey. Like everybody in Jersey should be buying something like this. But also, if you have a gun that tends to be finicky on certain types of hollow points because they're shorter, you know, if you have trouble feeding certain hollow points, like that's what sucks about. I mean, I know you can't. Some guns are just they're like that. There's certain hollow points that they won't feed consistently, or they have trouble with. They hang up. Having a gun that misfeeds or doesn't feed one type of hollow point, one brand of hollow point well, like that would bother me, even if I'm running an ammo that it does feed well. Like it always kind of be in the back of your head, like, man, one time I wonder if it's going to hang up with these too. Something like this, being longer, is going to feed better for sure. You're not going to, you probably won't have that trouble with guns because it's going to feed almost like a Full Metal Jacket. So that's cool.
But it's also got a place for it to catch, so maybe it won't. Like you'll find the same thing with some guns, I bet.
Yeah, could be.
All the tests that I've seen with 30 super carry in gel were more than disappointing. So I mean, if it's in 9mm, I can see it. But anything like it's 30 super carry, those rounds, they're like all the people that are making it, and they're getting shot out of a gun that's made for 30 super carry. They've underperformed.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, and these are either ball or hollow points, and a lot of people are trying to put 30 super carry in hollow points, and they're expanding, but you're getting 10 to 12 inches into the gel.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're going to go by the FBI standards, you know, you might as well just shoot a 9mm at that point, or be like E-Webs and just shoot a 45 or 40 or 357.
Mm-hmm. Foss says maybe it tumbles on impact. It doesn't mention that though. I don't think it's supposed to. I mean, I think they would mention that if that's what it was supposed to do.
I've shot a lot of that Syntex stuff, and I had better performance out of a copper jacketed type of deal than I did out of, you know, some kind of polymer. Remember, I forgot who made it, but it was like a polymer round, and then the APX guys hopped on it, and I shot those, and they were just underperforming. Like they're, you know, just placement of the round at, you know, 20, 25 yards was just inadequate
The
to shoot out of that gun. So I don't know. Give it a go. I don't care.
Are you talking about the Glazers back in the day? Those ones that were fragmenting?
Yeah, those, and then those other ones. I forgot who made them. They came in a little brown box, I remember, and they were the talk of the town. And I shot a whole box of them at 25 yards, and I was like, well, I'm getting better results out of a lead copper jacketed bullet than I am those. And then I shot what were those? The American Eagle, the Syntex things. I mean, they're just rounds just to shoot at a target. I don't believe they're sustainable for being a carry around. But Norma does make good stuff. You know, I don't think they kind of skimp on their production of the round itself. So it's Norma's a pretty good bullet, pretty good projectile of the head.
Yeah, I mean Norma makes great stuff. They make a lot of oddball stuff too. So it's kind of neat. They do all that. They do a lot of like older, less popular kind of things, and they make a lot of sometimes they're the only ones that make some of the super goofy, like the safari rounds, like the big, huge honking, you know, cannon rounds and stuff. So, I mean, they're a great company. I mean, they definitely have, found some of their niche. So I don't know. Well, my thing was, I think it's if they, I think that they could really have hit a little bit of a home run here with the fact that it's not a hollow point and the fact that it's reasonably priced, that they can do it reasonably priced. for some of the states that that for like Jersey that doesn't allow the hollow point. So,
well, maybe they should elect better officials, huh? Huh? Elect better officials so you can carry the cool stuff.
that's true. That the all the other manufacturers should push for certain people to get elected, huh? Be proactive and not reactive, I guess.
There you go.
Yep. Let's see what else we got here. If you like
Indiana constitutional carry, yes, that should be signed on Tuesday. Yes, I would really enjoy that.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. We were talking about Ohio. Ohio's sitting on the desk, and I didn't realize that. I'll be honest, I didn't even realize this was a thing where if they don't veto it or don't sign it, like after 10 days, it becomes a law. So that's pretty crazy. I didn't realize that's how that worked.
That's how Indiana is. He's got three options. He either signs this bill and rides off into the sunset because he can't get elected again, or he'll veto it and it goes back to the House, but then the House will just overrule him because we have majority. So, I mean, he's got really no options at this point. Or he just lets it ride out and it just materializes into a new law. So,
I thought this was pretty cool. Bear Creek Arsenal has an AR-15 upper.
Hold on. I'm sorry, I was away and I just got back. So can I interrupt you?
Go
So
ahead.
you're saying in Indiana, it's going to happen Tuesday no matter what?
well, either Tuesday he can sign it, and then if he wants to veto it, it'll go back to the House, and we have a majority. And if the majority rules it, then it's game on. Or he can just not do anything, and then in the next couple of days, it just becomes law.
Well, here's the thing. From what I understand, Ohio, if he does nothing Wednesday, but if you're saying if it's Tuesday in Indiana, then your state, well, then the next question is when does it go into effect?
I think it goes into effect March 30th.
Of this year?
Yeah.
I think if that's the case, then Indiana, in my opinion, is the 22nd constitutional carry state because
Well,
you'll
we'll be the 23rd, won't we?
No, because Louisiana doesn't take effect until like September.
Yeah, that's right.
And Ohio doesn't take effect until I think he said April. So
and then when is Georgia?
When
is Georgia then?
Farting around. We don't even know what they're doing. They're not going to do it by Tuesday, and they're not going to be ready to go by March 30th, I bet. I'll bet you you're 22nd. Not to get anybody's hopes up. Sorry to interrupt.
Quit.
That's cool.
I was hoping.
Bear Creek Arsenal came out with a 22 whammer upper, which is pretty cool. This will be one for all you hardcore prairie dog hunters out there. Bear Creek Arsenal has been teasing the release of the new 22 WMR AR-15 for a couple of weeks, and it is and today is the day. So this was from like a week or two ago. But that's pretty cool. If you like 22 WMR,
I'd shoot it. I think it'd be a cool turnaround, from just shooting your old 1022s or that M&P thingy majigger. Now you get this thing, and you can just if you can find 22 mag, man, that's impossible around here.
The Bear Creek Arsenal AR-15 complete 22 mag length upper has a 16-inch barrel with a parkerized finish, 1-16 twist, 15-inch M-lock, side charger, compatible. It is compatible with any mil-spec AR-15 lower, and this upper includes a 10-round Black Dog mag and the buffer spring and buffer. Let's see if they have a price here. $350. That's for the upper, the buffer spring, the buffer tube, and a mag. It's only a 10-round mag, which is a little weird. I wonder if the fact that it's a rimmed case, they can't make it, that they can't make it a more capacity. But
so you'd have to get a lower that fits that, right?
No, any lower,
any mil spec lower.
Yep.
Really?
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's pretty cool. I mean, 350 is not bad either.
No.
So if you're the kind of person that what's neat about it is if you have a favorite lower, if you hunt with an AR and you have a favorite lower that you like to use, and you want to take this for, like they say, like prairie dogs or whatever, or even to hunt small game. I mean, 22 mag, I know people that'll hunt turkey with 22 mag and stuff like that. It would give you the opportunity, not in Pennsylvania because you can't hunt with a semi-automatic, but I guess you can for small game. You can for small game, but not deer and stuff. I don't know about turkey. I don't know if you could hunt with a semi-auto for turkey or not. You might be able to. I don't know. I'd have to look it up. But it's neat. It gives you the chance to buy a couple of, buy one more caliber upper that you might want to use to hunt with, which is neat. I wonder if they, I think it said it's only a 16-inch barrel though. So, I mean, I don't know if you'd want it. They probably make longer. If they sell them, they'll probably make longer barrels. There might be a special order. You might be able to get longer barrels if you want it.
Now that's innovative. What else? What other rifle shoots 22 mag that's semi-auto?
There was that weird, like
I don't know,
European arms company or something. They had a gun that looked almost a little bit like the old Walther. What were they? The G22s, a kind of funky bullpup looking 10-20 or 22. Then I think what the heck's that company that makes all the kind of funky different AR pistols? I think that they had one in like 5.7 and something else. They might have done one in 22 mag.
Now the Ruger Precision Rimfire is also semi-auto, but that's not on the AR platform. But they make that in 22 Magnum.
There you go.
Wait, Gary, did you say the Precision Rimfire?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, they do.
Sure, that's a bolt.
It's a bolt action.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Precision. I have one at work.
Well, let me see. Yeah, you're right.
Ruger used to make a 10-22 style gun that was 22 Magnum, but I think
you're right.
They only
It
made
is
it for
magazine
like 2 years.
fed. It's a magazine fed bolt action.
But
okay.
bolt action, yeah.
You're right.
Well, see, there's
Still
innovation.
a fun gun either way.
Yeah.
Problem is, it's got a rim that's made for not being a semi-auto.
Right.
It's not a rim because it's a rim fire, but it's not really made to be a semi-auto, and it's got a whole bunch of chamber or cartridge, I guess, whatever you want to call it, the throat, whatever it's called, to expand. So it's tough to extract them and operate them and cycle them and stuff. So,
well, I guess I guess that's true.
Well, I should say it's been tough, and in the past, it was like tolerances of like so much and quality control of so much tolerances. Nowadays, it's like we got machines that know how dull the tools are getting, right, and compensate for it, and then we got quality control, which mics everything out. So it's not, a home shop can be 10 times more accurate than what a big fancy machine shop could have been back in the day, just because of the tech, right? So those problems with 22 Magnum, are they a thing of the past because of better knowledge?
I think they still crop up every now and then because, well, as much as some people might not like the company, Keltec with their the PMR 30, their semi-auto 22 mag, they kind of revived interest in it. That wasn't just, here's a new synthetic stock with a fancy barrel and bolt gun for varmint hunting.
Well, that's the thing. 22 Magnum is, what's the point? Like, it's not like it's plentiful. It's not like it's falling off shelves for free. So you had to like it and want it. And then what were you going to use it for? So most people are like, I'm getting that for a purpose. Like, that's a tool caliber, right? And then, so the people that could make it, I guess I forgot to address Rimlock. The magazines Rimlock all the time because probably something about their, I don't know, either because they're jamming them into magazine bodies made for other calibers, and no one's made a true 22 Magnum, thought it out and made like the correct mag for them. But even the PMR 30 could, the one I had, was it a PMR? What did I have? I had a PMR 30, right? Like the pistol.
The Keltec 22 mag.
Yeah, and it would rim lock once in a while. And once you knew how to load it right, but anyway, so there's issues with it. But I'm saying I don't know if it's that we've overcome those issues with knowledge and machining ability, and it's just that nobody cares because it's 22 Magnum, or we haven't overcome them, and that's why nobody shoots them, and that's why nobody shoots 22 Magnum, right? Is it like chicken before the egg or the egg before the chicken? Like, I don't think we know because, if there was a whole bunch of 22 Magnum, everybody on 22 Magnum, and we chose not to shoot these because they didn't work, that's different. There's just no scenario that tells us what the real issue is, why we don't see these guns.
That's a Gary issue. That's a Gary issue. Chicken before the egg.
I guess it is true, and I never really thought about 22 mag being like a purpose-driven cartridge where people that are using it for a specific reason. They're using it to hunt, varmints or whatever, and it's great for that. But if you're going to shoot, if you're going to get a 22 AR just to plink, you're going to get a 22 long rifle conversion kit to plink, and spend even less money. You can buy one of those can you still buy one of those for like $200, $250 maybe? I don't know.
There's so many options, though, right? And you can get used, and everybody's got 22. That's the thing. You can find piles of 22 usually.
Yeah. Interesting. All right. Let's see what else we got here. Here's something pretty cool talk about sort of another caliber, but just a different gun in a different gun in a old caliber, I guess we could say, from Maxim. The Maxim PDW rifle goes to Gunsight Academy. Does a 7.62 by 39 SBR work in a Gunsight advanced carbine class. And I'm not going to get into whether this guy liked it for this or not. I just saw it as a pretty cool little gun.
Let's say a 5-inch barrel.
Yeah. I bet that's a flamethrower.
I got so many of those patches at SHOT Show. They had them out on the table the whole entire time, just piles.
Oh yeah. It's a cool little gun for sure, man. I mean, it's neat looking.
Funky looking with that kink that the 7.62 by 39 AR mag has to have.
Yeah, it looks. I like it. I like the way it looks. I think it's really nice looking. It says the 7.62 platform suffers from the inconsistent manufacture of both rifle and ammunition. I don't really understand what they're trying to get at there, but the build quality of the PDX display is 19 inches long, collapsed stock, 23.5 inches when extended, weighing 7 pounds. Having purchased the PDX as a short-barreled rifle, I submitted the paperwork to the ATF and sat back and waited. Let's see if it says how long it took them to get back. I don't think it does.
2021, early.
2021, yeah, but it doesn't say when doesn't say how long it took. Then he used it for Gunsight's 5.56 class. Discovered it with a 5-inch barrel. One had to hold over the target to hit at 300 yards. Even with the 8-inch barrel, hitting at 300 yards was still problematic. Here we ran into limitations of the cartridge. Set up like an AR. Recoil is a bit sharper than 5.56, but manageable. Need 2 different loads. He took steel case and S&B brass.
It seems like saying I'm going to try I bought this like 4-door car, and I'm going to test it by helping my friend move. And it took me 13 trips in this 4-door car. Yeah. It's like, okay, it took you a while, but you also are basically shooting out of a pistol.
Yeah. Just want to see. He said he functioned flawlessly, had some unusable and repeatable problems. With the 8-inch upper, a round would fail to eject, but the gun would also partially feed the next round. This happened more with the S&B. So I don't know. I just thought it was a cool looking little gun, man. It's neat to see something new in 5.5 or 7.62. That's always cool. I'd be interested to see how fast they're going out of that. They're probably moving pretty slow. They're probably not moving all that fast. Man,
in order for that to work, you'd probably have a tiny little gas hole. So otherwise it would blow way too much pressure back. So it's probably just a tiny little gas hole.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would hit. Yeah, it would hammer pretty hard if it was gas.
So
like
you figure they built the thing for a 16-inch barrel. I think that's what AK's got, right? 16-inch barrels basically.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So there's no way that the Russia was like, oh, we only need 14 inches. Let's make it 16 anyway, because we got all kinds of extra time, right? Like,
Right.
no problem. So you know that bullet was engineered for somewhere around 16 inches. So that's like saying, let's take a third of that, a little bit less.
True, but they also made all those little, what are they, not cranks? They tried turning them into like submachine gun sized rifles in that. And just because this popped into my head, interesting fun fact, the overall length of a 7.62 by 39 is 2.2 inches. So that means that you've got 2.8 inches of actual working barrel in that 5-inch.
I wonder if it says what the
I
twist
see what you're
is.
saying. Like by the time it's in there in the chamber and everything.
Yeah, because
that's a little bit of rifling and what,
Yeah, you're like actual working length, I guess.
Yeah, so you're taking a 30 caliber slug and saying, twist, twist, go. Like,
well, that's what I was just gonna say.
Go.
And that's what I was gonna say. Like, I wonder what the twist rate is in there, because if it's only like,
well, you got to remember too, also that
I wonder how many
little
times it
inch
will
and
go
an
around
eighth or
the
inch and a half snub nose barrels, they only have a little bit of twist, and they seem to shoot or stabilize bullets okay. I mean, hell, even rifled choke tubes that are like maybe an inch in some case still puts or imparts spin on it.
This be like going one of those things where, like, whenever kids start going to football practices, like whatever intramurals or whatever that's called, like, going to like the first year of it and watching them kids throw. It's probably like that, like
like throwing ducks around.
Yeah. Sometimes they go about 3 inches. Sometimes they go a little further.
Yeah.
But hey, if it is tumbling and it's restricted to shorter distances, well, pre-tumbling, should do a lot more damage.
Well, it's like that rifleless AR. What was it?
The Reformation.
Yeah, the Reformation. Yeah, if you use the little Nerf football rounds, it flew good. But it flew well. If you use standard rounds, it was tumbling and going all over the place. Not going all over the place, but it was starting to tumble in the air. But yeah, I mean, I'm guessing if you used it and it hit you sideways, it would mess you up pretty bad. Hell, it was still moving pretty fast. So here's another gun by Tokarev. I thought was interesting. It's shotgun, little 12 gauge. It's the Tokarev USA TX3 12 HD Retro Riot. Little scatter gun. Yeah, a little scatter gun. So does have a heat shield on it, and it's like I don't know if it's I guess it's a wood stock. I don't think it's synthetic. It looks like real wood, but it does look pretty shitty that the forestock and the butt stock are like, the butt stock has a texture to it and the forestock doesn't. I don't know if they're all like that or if
two different types of wood.
It's what it looks like, and it looks kind of shitty. It doesn't look good at all. It almost looks like the forestock is synthetic or something, and the butt stock isn't, but it's kind of a bummer. Does have a bayonet lug on it, I guess, which is kind of neat. I don't know. Not a whole lot to say about it. It's modeled after it does have a rail on top if you want to put like a red dot or something. Fiber optic front. Yeah, it does have fiber optics in the rear. It says, here it does say, these pump action shotguns come with walnut furniture that looks surprisingly nice. I think if they matched, it would be great. Like either one, like honestly, for a cheap shot, like inexpensive shotgun, if the butt stock looked like that and the forestock looked like that, or the butt stock and forestock look like that, like I think I'd be fine with it for a $280 or whatever shotgun. But the fact that they look so different, it does look kind of shitty.
That's probably just that one. I'm looking at another picture and they're matching more.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think I did see that they were 279.
Yeah, I think he just went past it.
But if you look at them, it's kind of clunky. I don't like the shape of the pump at all.
279, yeah.
Unless it's supposed to be emulating something I'm not familiar with, it looks kind of clunky.
What did they say? Was it like a Winchester?
I did see it was kind of modeled after yeah. I think it's an 1997. It's modeled after. But so does that have a tang safety or a crossbolt?
Looks like cross.
Doesn't have, must be a crossbolt. I don't see a tang safety.
Winchesters would, only Mossbergs have that goofy top thing, right? Only Winchesters would have something else. Probably up in front of the guard.
Yeah, I don't know. Does anybody else do a tang safety? I don't know. I know. I know you're right. Mossberg does for sure, but I don't know if anybody else does.
The only thing I've ever seen with them.
Yeah.
I think it's in front, just from looking at the shape of the handguard or the trigger guard. There's more stuff in front, unless that's just the
slide release.
Yeah. But that's what I mean. In this picture, like I can't see it. Like you would think you'd think it'd be right there. You'd think like that's where it would be, and I don't see it.
Well, that could be it, and the release could be a button on the side too. I don't know how Winchester's open.
Yeah. See if they have another. Nah.
Nope.
So there's that little cheapy shotgun. Kind of cool.
A shotgun.
So this is
made in Turkey.
Yeah, that seems to be kind of the center of the discount shotgun world.
Yeah.
Think about if you were a turkey and you had to think about the country named after you. It's nothing but shotguns are made there.
Now, is the country named after the bird, or was the bird named after the country?
Ooh, that's a tough one. Study finds car security a leading contributor to gun theft. And this is, I mean, I guess this is no news. It shouldn't be surprising to anybody, but does make you sort of think. I don't leave a gun in a car. I don't think it's a good idea. I know the tough thing is there's people that, like, I know Gary, you're allowed to have it in your car at work, but you're not allowed to take it inside. So there's nothing you can do. You're kind of stuck. Right.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Other than situations where you really don't have a choice, I guess, like that, like if you want to carry, you gotta leave it there. You know, I don't think it's a great idea.
Are those the gloves? Are those the gloves the criminals wearing in the picture?
That's what I'm wondering. Is that because
those are actual gloves? Those are latex.
You mean the conscientious person who's interested in not spreading communicable diseases? And
I'm gonna steal your car, but I don't want to. I don't want to
get you sick.
Yeah,
and I'm going to use this bright safety orange crowbar that's easily visible and distinguishable to leave paint flecks on the side of your car.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to carry this big, like, crazy Tonfa looking thing with angles all over the place because I'm a crook and I carry giant three-dimensional metal things around.
At least he's wearing his mask.
You must have a mask
mandate there.
Well, you don't see the leaves on the trees, do you?
Yeah.
You think the AI is reading that picture and saying, "Oh, there's gloves, so let's sell them gloves," or do you think it's like, "Oh, there's criminals, so let's give them criminal gloves"? Like, why are they trying to push gloves on you so hard?
Well, I think it's because of me with the restaurant too. I've done a lot of price comparison on latex, and it knows that it is kind of funny. It's kind of funny that it would be just on that one. You know, criminal. You like gloves? Are you a criminal? Here you go.
This guy's using the wrong gloves. Use these thinner gloves. You can get all the feeling of your lock picks through them.
Yeah. Get the textured tips and all that kind of
stuff. No fingerprints or your money back.
That's right. Police studies showed that at least 103 guns were stolen from unlocked vehicles in the past 2 years. This is a guy. This is the chief of police from where? Oh, where the hell is this guy from?
Statesboro, Georgia.
Is that where
Yeah.
it is?
Yeah, Georgia.
Oh, yeah, there it is. Statesboro, Georgia. I missed it up there. I was like, are they going to say where this dude's from or not? In 2019, investigated 30 firearms theft. Out of 30, only 4 were those that were forced entry thefts, meaning stolen from locked vehicles. The other 26 were non-forced entry, meaning the vehicles were left unlocked or perhaps a gun was left in an open bed of a truck or in an unlocked toolbox.
There you go. So
Shit.
somebody could literally be watching somebody who comes and goes, and then like, oh, they take 3 trips into their house, and then doink, and then
Yep.
That's a car theft. Was it a car theft? I guess technically they took it from the car, but
Yeah.
that's, them stealing from you because they were watching you go in and out of the house, or at the range, or at a gun show. Fill in the blank. Gun shop. How crazy would it be if that was out of the back of police cars at some place, and they're using one incident and saying, "Oh, look, it happened 100 times." One incident where somebody stole 99 police cars or guns from the police, and then one other time.
The Foss says he's going to pry the door instead of breaking the window. Yeah, it is kind of odd. Why? Yeah, why try and pry the door open when you can just pop the window and go in? It's not like you're unless he. I mean, maybe he doesn't want to have to replace the window. Maybe not.
I mean, it is credited with being stock footage or stock photo.
Is
So
that the mayor breaking into the car?
Probably.
Is that the mayor? Since the article is about the mayor that's talking about breaking into cars, that's the mayor right there of Georgia, Buttsboro, Georgia. Good God.
So there's not a whole lot to read into here. It's it is kind of it was kind of interesting to see how few of them were actually break-ins and not just people trying the doors and it's like, oh, door's open, let me go through this car.
And that's 100 guns, not 100 incidents, right? 103 guns.
103. Yeah.
We've got all these new gun owners. We've got people that are weird, and for whatever reason they share. So they're sharing their collections, they're sharing their outings, they're inviting people that they meet online. And then that's always an issue. So there's always been an issue that you go to the range and it's like not necessarily a range, but you go to the forest or you go to the desert or you go to the place where people shoot, the public land where people shoot, and you set up and you're shooting, you go down range, you come back, hey, what happened to all my stuff? And that'll happen if you go camping or horseback riding or four-wheeling. You go out, you tool around in your four-wheel, you come back, hey, where are all my tools? People know to hang out at trailheads. People know to hang out at the parking lots. Criminals are criminals. They go to prison. They learn about other ways to be a criminal. They hang out being criminals at night, having conversations like this, learn how to be criminals. So they figure out that there's new gun owners that haven't experienced the concept of like, you got to keep an eye on your stuff all the time. They go down range, they're playing with their targets. They come back, hey, 13 guns are gone. Dang it. They go to the police and say, hey, 13 guns are gone. So 103 guns in the state of Georgia with all these new gun owners. I'm not trying to shine light on it.
Well, it's not the state. It's in that.
Oh, okay. Then I misunderstood. I thought it was the state.
It's in
of
that
Georgia.
town. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But
still, you know what I'm saying? That turns out to be 99 of them were from a police outing, and the police weren't paying attention. And now instead of taking a embarrassing black eye, they're going to go, hey, we got to worry about gun theft now because 103 guns were stolen. So anyway, I'm just trying to look at it from skeptical.
Yeah, I've heard of people, and this has happened. I'm sure a lot. I'm sure this has happened a bunch of times. I've heard of people like, when we used to go ride dirt bike and 4-wheeler and stuff up in some of the towns where they have coal mining. A lot of the people used to go up there and ride those trails and ride the coal mines and stuff years ago. And you'd all park in like you'd have one big like parking spot, and there'd be like 50 trucks in there, and a lot of them had trailers. I've heard where people have, taking their bikes and their quads off of their trailer and going to ride and come back and their fucking trailer's gone. Somebody just like backed up their truck to it and hitched it up and took it, took it with them. People do shitty stuff, man. You definitely have to kind of think about that stuff.
That was a big one here in Ohio in the last couple of years, was trailer theft and also 4-wheelers and everything else like that.
And then there's also the like, I'm going to go out to this place and I'm going to go check my targets, wink, wink. And if I come back and all my guns are gone, I'm going to have to report them to insurance. And, it would suck. I'm just saying. There's like you say, there's crazy people coming from all angles.
Let's see. This one is interesting. This is I didn't realize this is going through. This is this is from AmmoLand. Gun control has been signed into law by President Biden with the support of turncoat Republicans. In the middle of the night, U.S. state passed the Violence Against Women Act, Reauthorization Act of 2022. So I didn't realize that this had actually gone through. I did see a bunch of things from I did see some posts from the DC Project. I don't know if anybody saw that on Instagram or whatever. Cheryl Todd posted a good video, and it was a clip of a woman. This really drives you fucking crazy. Like, this is the kind of shit that drives you nuts. She had posted a clip of a woman that was saying, talking about why, I can't remember her name, and I did save it on Instagram, and I don't think we're going to be able to do Instagram really tonight because it's getting late, but she talking about her story, why she wants to carry, right? And she was assaulted. She was a victim of abuse. I don't know. I can't remember if she was raped or if she was just assaulted. I can't remember. And she was telling her story, and the councilman, basically, and this drove a lot of people crazy, he says, well, I'm a hunter and I own guns. So, and then there's a big but, but of course, and then he went into saying that, if his wife, I think he said his wife, if his wife was that afraid to go outside because she thought she needed a gun to defend herself at all times, then I would just tell her that she shouldn't leave the house. She should just stay in the house. And it was super crazy to hear. Like, it was one of the just blatantly just infuriating things.
Kind of sounds like
it.
Say again?
There's the link. I would play it because it's literally, it's heinous, right? Is that the word? Like, it's the worst things you could say.
You said you have the link?
I just threw it in your chat. Yeah.
Oh, cool. Okay. Here, let me see here.
She's Miss Lauren Liberty. Is her Instagram?
Yeah, I had it like I said, I had it on Instagram, but I don't have it. I didn't have it here.
Yeah, it's pretty egregious of what he says. I left my comment in there. I said, you know what, he should go hang out on the west side of my town. Then I think you think twice about, because he said something like, "Oh, I don't have to carry a gun anywhere I go." Like, yeah, you don't, because people pay for your protection.
Right, and that's where it really does come down to that. It comes down to somebody saying that you don't deserve to be able to protect yourself. I deserve to have protection, and I'm more important than you. And that's it's horrible. It's crazy. That's basically what is being said, is that if you feel like you need to, if you feel the need to protect yourself, there's something wrong with you, and it's bananas. Okay, here we go. Let's make sure that we can hear it.
Concealed carry is because the reason that I got my concealed carry is because I've been a victim of sexual assault. I've been a victim of random assault. I've been a victim of domestic abuse. And I refuse to be a victim again. I don't carry because I want to harm others. I carry because I don't want to be harmed. My right to defend myself shouldn't change simply because of my physical location.
I've said it many times that I'm a gun owner. I'm a hunter, and I'm a Democrat. I don't need to carry my gun on me at all times to feel safe. I don't walk around, run around, and drive around worried about somebody's going to shoot me, or somebody's going to hurt me, or somebody's going to do whatever. I even walk around at that point, stay home. behind closed doors. So, I mean, I do understand that, yeah, it is a right that we have, but some people just don't have that right, and some people just shouldn't have that right. And with that, I vote no.
The reason
What a fucking douche.
Outstanding. Some people should have that right, and other people just shouldn't. He is so he's the infacto, indecto, and the bastardo of the way of saying that some people should have rights, other people shouldn't have rights.
Mm-hmm.
What a douchebaggery! Now, was this rebuttal right after this lady had spoke, or was this down the road? That's what I want.
I'm not 100%
Very good
sure.
question, because it is edited, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Does it say in the box?
That would be my only question. Other than that, at this point, I don't even care if it's edited. You know what I'm saying? I don't even care. Just to have that mentality, and you can go to Instagram. I think Diane, she posted that too, and you can go see my comment, dude. If you go on the west side of my town and you think you're going to be all, I guess shits and giggles going down there, I'm guarantee you're going to get robbed. You're going to get robbed. It's just that plain and simple. So what are those people supposed to do on the west side of my town? Just sit in their houses and never come out until the sun comes up? Is that how we're supposed to live as a society? Oh, if you don't feel safe, just stay in your house. Oh, you were abused?
Well, he told his victim of abuse that she's wrong for feeling like she, you know what I'm saying? Like she's wrong for her feelings, and that, he prescribed action that she should take, which is basically leave the people alone and isolate yourself, don't seek help or anything. And then he's like so tone deaf or whatever. And then he's like, because that's one of those words you're supposed to use when somebody's being like that. And then also he's being privileged, right? Like, I'm a dude and I don't feel victimized. Therefore, I'm going to project that on everybody else. So
you shouldn't feel it either. It does kind of harken back to like victim blaming too, where it's almost the same. It's the same kind of mentality of like, well, look at how she was dressed and she got assaulted. So, I mean, you can't really, it's kind of her fault.
You should have stayed home, or she didn't have to go out into that environment if she knew it was going to happen to her.
Right. And, it's, to me, it's kind of the same thing. It's like, if that, and what gets me about people is like, and I'm a big what if guy, like, what if this happened, or what if that happened, or what if this was your wife or your daughter? Like, I'd be really interested to hear somebody ask that guy, like, what if that was your daughter that was assaulted, and then she wanted to carry something to protect herself so that it didn't happen again? Because we all know bad stuff doesn't just happen in bad areas. Bad shit happens in good areas, and sometimes good areas are where bad stuff happens the most, because that's where criminals can get away with the most stuff. If they're looking to rob somebody, they're like robbing somebody that looks like they have a lot of money in their pocket or whatever. But like, having somebody like him, like, would you tell your daughter, like, well, I guess you just shouldn't leave the house ever again because you feel like you need to be able to protect yourself, or you need to carry something to protect yourself? Like, is he, like, you use the word tone deaf, and that's kind of perfect example of like the way somebody like that is, and the way that they think is, it's like, well, like, what if it was my wife? Oh, well, she should just not leave the house. No, he would never fucking say that. He wouldn't say that. I mean, I doubt it. He would say, well, it's not my wife's fault. She should be allowed to go where she wants to go, blah, blah, blah. And it's like,
right.
Well,
and he's not going to force the gun on his wife, or the responsibility on his wife to clean up the streets. So he's probably going to say, let's clean up those streets, or let's figure out what the root cause is. Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's what I was just going to say. He's not going to go with her everywhere to protect her. He's not going to, you can't do that. Like, people have to live their lives, and they have to do things on their own, and they have to do whatever. So, it's like, you go to the grocery store and something happens. It's like, what are you going to do? You either have the ability to protect yourself, or you put yourself at the mercy of the person that's willing to assault you. And so, yeah, this one really this one stuck pretty. This one was pretty rough to listen to, and he's so unapologetic about it, and he's so just like sure of his position, that it really just sort of sticks in your gut a little bit. It really bugged the shit out of me.
That guy kind of reminds me a little bit of Ohio State Rep Joe Miller. He is a Democrat. He was also against constitutional carry when it passed last week or so. And his thing before the vote happened was, "Oh, I support the Second Amendment. I'm a hunter, blah, 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 blah." And then voted no on it immediately after they went to vote. And I'm just like, dude, fuck you.
Mm.
It reminds me of when Nadler was sitting up there and he's talking to that guy and he's like, so your assessment of the Second Amendment is you would fire on American soldiers? And the guy looks at him, yeah, I would. If it was tyrannical government and they were trying to destroy the populace, I would. That's what the Second Amendment is for. I love it how all these politicians, if I was a Republican or I lived in the left and right paradigm, I would totally take this and primary that guy with it. And I would keep on playing over and over. I'm a Democrat. I'm a hunter.
Yeah.
I'm a Democrat.
Yeah.
I'm a hunter. I would that's what my whole little thing on TV would be. I'd primary this dude and I get him out of there. And you never hear from, what was his name? Costanzas or whatever his name was. Don Corleone or whatever he is.
Yeah. Lupe Contreras.
Contreras, that's what it was.
Yeah. Lupe Contreras.
I hope he gets robbed tomorrow.
Yeah, he's a fucking asshole. I mean, I don't know what you can say other than, yeah, dude's a fucking asshole. But yeah, he it's one of those things where it is a situation where you want to look at somebody and be like, so you should just be at the mercy of the evildoers. I mean, that's what you're saying? Is that you should just be at the mercy of evildoers, and you shouldn't go anywhere that's dangerous. Where is dangerous? Anywhere can be dangerous. It's somebody living in a fucking bubble.
And then how do you determine that it's now a dangerous place? Because the first person gets hurt, the second person gets hurt? Like, at what point is it the victim's responsibility and obligation to get hurt so that other people realize that now the bad guys have taken over that area? The bad guys aren't going to put up signs and say, we own this area, we're going to rob you.
Yeah. Well, and it's, for sure. It's just like anything else that bad happens to some people. The first time that it happens is the first time that it happens, you know? And it's kind of what you're saying is where is the dangerous spot? Where is a safe spot? I mean, all spots are safe and all spots are dangerous all at the same time, I guess. Kind of, you know? You don't know what's going to happen.
Oh, so, you know what's crazy? I'm looking at where District 19 is, right? This is... If it's not Cheryl Todd's district, it's the district right next to Cheryl Todd. This guy.
Yeah, I know it's in Arizona. I don't know where it is.
The wrong lady to say that. That's why she's posted it on so many things. I had no idea.
Yeah.
I thought he was just somewhere in Phoenix. I didn't know he was like. I mean, if like I say, I don't know where her house is or whatever. I know where her business is, and it's. Yeah. I can't tell from this map, but it's either right there or right next to where they're at.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah, I'm not sure.
I don't want to like compare my drastic experiences in life to other people's, but in the same instance, I look at it like, dude, I got robbed right down the street from my house, like 60, 70 yards, if that. You know, like this guy's never been a victim. You know, I've dealt with somebody who gave me mental abuse. You know what I'm saying? To not maybe not to the level of this lady, but I understand where she's coming from, and I understand how important it is for females to protect themselves. And for this man to sit up there and just say, "Stay in your house," that's like telling somebody, "Go make me a sandwich." You know, that's how I look at it with this man. And this guy wouldn't last. If anybody doesn't know, I live a couple doors down from Gary. This guy would not last in Gary 1 minute. You know, I don't know how bad Arizona is or certain sections of Arizona, but if you ever drove through Gary, Indiana,
not live in a bad neighborhood. No, I don't think.
yeah, I don't think he lives in a bad neighborhood. And I mean, dude, it can happen ever. It can happen every time, or it could happen a few times. It just happens when you're least expected. I didn't expect to have a 38 special stuck in my chest and my money being taken from me. I didn't wish that. You know, I didn't think that would ever happen in my small little town, my small little community. I guess you could call it gated, you know, from sheltered from the rest of the world, because some things don't affect us like other places like California and everything else. But still, it happens. Crime happens, whether you want it to happen or not. It happens. And to have this guy's mentality up there, man, this is the perfect soundbite to get this guy retired real quick.
Yeah.
You know, this is where they make those mistakes. Remember when George Bush said, "No new taxes"? You know, that's why he didn't get reelected.
I think too, when he says what he said, or when he said what he said, it doesn't just go against the mentality of gun owners. It goes against the mentality of any woman that wants to protect herself in general. And it's not just and it probably has larger ramifications to a larger ramifications to a larger community of women than he thinks.
Oh no, dude! Like
not,
even the ladies that don't want to protect themselves, but just ladies that want to go outside and would like to not have to also have the obligation to then defend themselves, or have the obligation to like not be concerned. Like you either have to have no concern when you go outside, or stay inside. If you have a concern, then you can stay inside. Is what he told ladies.
Yeah, it's crazy. And that's where I think, you know, even women that aren't scared to go outside can sympathize with women that live in areas that aren't as safe, and they can sympathize with women that have been assaulted, and they can think, well, wow, that could have been me, or wow, I should have been that could have been me when I went somewhere and I had to go to that job interview or something, and it was in kind of a rougher neighborhood than I thought it was. I think they can sympathize with women thinking that, and that's bad for him, basically. I thought this was thanks for throwing that link up there. I was going to talk about it and then try and find the link later, but I appreciate that. Now, one more quick one here. Sons of bitches up in the New Yorks. New York Democrats roll out bill taxing every round of ammunition. Now, what's scary about this shit is there's a whole lot of people that won't give a shit about it. And there's a whole lot of people that'll go along with, well, we tax all sorts of other shit. Sure, okay, let's tax it. And they don't and they don't really care the severity of this. This is really an extreme tax too. It's not like a couple cents a box. This shit was Senator Andrew Guardes and Albany Assemblywoman Pat Fahey have introduced a bill that would impose a 5-cent per round tax on all ammunition 22 and above, and a 2-cent per round tax on 22 ammo or in smaller. If approved, New York will become the only state to impose a special tax on ammunition purposes, though there are several cities across the country that have similar measures in place. That is a shitload of money. 5 cents a round or 2 cents a round for 22. That is a lot of. That is a big jump.
What do gun owners even have? If they have 3 or 4 guns, they probably have 3 or 4 rounds of ammo. It's really not that much ammo.
Max, yeah. They probably don't even. They probably won't even tax the full metal jackets. They'll just tax the killer rounds, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Sure. Yeah, yeah. The exploding rounds. That was 1 years ago. They took something to trial and they were talking about exploding rounds, and it's like, what the fuck are you talking about exploding rounds, bro? But if it's said in Ghost is out there causing fucking trouble. Says doesn't bother me. Taxes are how our country runs. It seems fair. And what's
our taxes paid for safety, isn't it worth it?
Yeah. It's what's tough about it, or what's going to be tough about it, is where are they going to put the money, right? So I'm trying to think here if they say where the money is allocated.
The way I look at it, we have, because I've been paying attention to trying to map out, figure out who all is on our side, who all they are, right? So I've been spending time paying attention to that now. Most of the organizations that we're familiar with all started in 2015, or since 2015 until now. Like very few of them existed before 1990, right? So the antis have had this tradition of wailing on us and doing stuff to us, and we've been able to do very little about it because we weren't united, we weren't aware, right? We were just taking the beatings, and every once in a while some faction of the gun owners would defend themselves in some way or another, but often we were just taking beatings, all these different things that we're all aware of that we deal with. But now when they do those old tactics like this isn't hidden. We all see this. It's going around all our communication methods, and we're all sharing this with each other. We're all remembering it. It's all being built. I'd like to think it's all being built into our memories so that we're not going to be able to be taken advantage of over and over again. But I don't know. So, what I'm saying? I think that there's a changing dynamic. Obviously, it hasn't changed yet, but I think that some of these tactics of nibble away or just keep beating on us are going to end at some point because they won't be effective and the consequences will be too dire. In 1994, we had some good consequences, but we haven't been able to reproduce that. I guess Colorado had a pretty good consequence to bad gun laws, but very few instances of us responding in kind. Oh, you threw a bad gun laws at us, you're gone. Once they start seeing that, then they're going to quit doing it, right? I would hope.
Well, wouldn't you think all these states that are getting constitutional carry is the repercussions of them always pooping on us?
Right? That's what I'm saying, because we do have some major, really good things. We do have bad things. I'm not saying it's all good, but I think that, right. I think that some of that is some of the consequence of, it's tough for them to keep pulling the wool over everybody's eyes. And more, our reaction isn't just to say, oh, my property or oh, my rights. It's to say, look, if you really want to help people, then why are you going after this person's property or my, not even my property, but why are you going over that person's property when really, if we want to save veterans' lives, then let's talk about the VA. Let's talk about how you say crazy in your bill, and that marginalizes somebody who might have a mental health issue, and you're the part of the reason that we have this problem in the first place, and you want to be so lazy or arrogant to address this. We're having challenges that are so different than they've ever experienced before. They're not savvy and smart and oh, touche, now I'm going to bring this back at you, blah blah blah. Nah, they're just looking back at their old tired, dusty things that they've tried before and trying to shuffle it around and repackage old garbage. A tax on ammunition, for crying out loud. They can't, what I'm saying? This kind of stuff can get to us. It can be a black eye, but we're remembering the black eyes more than ever, is what I'm guessing. And I think there's going to be an end to this stuff. Along with a lot of others. I don't think this is the only facet that we're paying attention to.
I like to point out, and I'll give Yankee credit where credit is due, but he made a video here recently about, he called it what it is, the House of Cards, and the House of Cards is falling on every anti-gunners argument. Constitutional carry was bloodbaths in the street. Remember that? I hate to stop talking about it, but it's important. Right. It's
every time we got to fight about a parking lot, it was going to end in death, right?
Oh, it's all over with. It's oh my God, World War 17, and then you have permitless carry certain type of laws. Then you have unrestrictions of magazines. You know, how far can they go? They can't go that far. You know, there's going to be repercussions for this. And this is why I and other people on this panel, especially the people out in the chat and the new people that just stumble across videos, need to understand that we are the number one equalizer when it comes to these anti-gunners. I mean, yes, they have a lot of money. And yes, I don't know if we're even going to call it grassroots anymore. We're kind of scraping pockets, you know, with a bunch of change in pocket lint to help push forth, you know, gun legislation that's going to be beneficial to the every average citizen. And I think the more and more they beat the drums of ammunition taxes, magazine restrictions, and the more and more we fight back and we put people in proper positions. I mean, power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolute. It happens, but as long as we keep on putting people that are going to do what needs to be done, I think right now we're posed to have some of the strongest pushes for the Second Amendment in my lifetime. I mean, a lot of you guys are older than me and have gone through a lot of other things, but I see it. We're starting to gain ground. G's right. We're not there yet. This is a marathon. It's not a sprint. But the more and more we get people involved, the more and more we put officials into that category where they have to listen to us, the better off we are, and the less, you know, oh, it's so devastating that these bills that come up. The biggest concern I have is stopping them from getting passed. And if you've noticed any of my videos that I've made or a lot of other YouTubers, we have to pay attention to omnibus bills, these huge, gigantic spending bills. This one that just went through, had gun control in it. Pay attention to this stuff. Look at it. Read it. The last omnibus bill that passed, I read all 230 some odd pages or whatever it was. And I'm telling you, there was gun control in that bill. They can't pass this stuff anymore willy-nilly. They can't just, this is a gun control bill, let's pass it. You know, they can't do this anymore. We have to continue that cycle where it's not where they can get one bill through that is just strictly anti-gun legislation. Now they have to start sneaking it. And now we have to start, being on the defense when they start making these huge bills. And I'm ashamed. As a Hoosier, as a person that lived the majority of my life in Indiana, I'm really upset at Todd Young for voting for that bill. That's something that not only have I ringed him on social media, I'm going to call his office on Monday morning and tell him you voted for this bill. You voted for this bill with gun control because you're wrapped up in something halfway across the world that we shouldn't be wrapped up in, but we are. But I think people need to start paying attention to this. I think the more and more we become united in whichever way, it doesn't have to be in lockstep, but whichever way that combats even these large bills that they push forward that has gun control in it, the better off we are as gun owners, in my opinion. It's sorry for that, Ray, but that's how I feel.
No, that's fine, man. That's what you're here for, to speak. Yeah. So see what happens. This is from the 8th, March 8th. This article was put out on. Just wanted to see if there was anything that said when it was, if anything was happening with this, when it was coming up, or if it was moving anywhere. This is from bearingarts.com. You could click on here and go read it if you want to.
Still talking about this one in New York.
Yeah. I just wanted to see if it said where it's at, if it had any votes or when it was going up for anything or whatnot. I don't think it says anything about it. It just says that it was proposed. So that's the last article. Normally I'd go in and play around on Instagram a little bit. I'm not going to do that tonight. Maybe if I have a night that I have a little extra time, maybe we'll just do an Instagram show this week and just play around on Instagram, have some fun. But I'm just going to do the articles and stuff today because I really wanted to keep it to like an hour and a half, and it's actually it's almost midnight, so a little bit longer than I wanted to go anyway. But that's good. I think we had some good conversation, had some pretty good articles, different things to talk about.
Trying to get it done before the midnight range.
Yeah, right. And this was it was a good one, a good comeback. It was off for a couple of weeks, and it's 200th episode, which is kind of cool. So it was good. We had one that I think was a really good episode. So do you guys have anything? We'll just go through. Gary, you got anything going on you need to talk about?
Well, first of all, I'd like to congratulate you on 200 episodes. And watch my fair.
Ape, you got anything going on? You never have anything going on. You're just working in interwebbins. Working in intertubins. Yeah. Roll call. What do you got going on, buddy? You got anything coming up?
Yeah, man. I always got something in the technical brewings of my mind.
You're always poking something, huh?
I'm always doing something. I'm either making people angry or I'm selling guns. It doesn't matter. But yeah, man. Congratulations on 200. That's a round number, man. That's a round number, and I think we do joke around, but I think you can learn stuff from any little piece of podcast that you watch across the internet, including this show. Even though sometimes it's very dull, and you guys praise Tom Cruise and his tooth, but still, it's a good time to be on here, and I haven't been on here in quite some time. But yeah, congratulations on that. For my channel, look, man, we're going to be going through some things. So stay tuned. Rants and Raves Wednesday night, 9:30, 10ish when my internet wants to work. Huge announcements coming up this week. So stay tuned for that. I got a bunch of videos out there over on the old YouTubes that have little to no meaning to some people, but it's just little adventures I've been going on for the last few weeks. And a couple of guns that I picked up, and then what I'm selling. If I'm selling, hopefully people are buying at this point in life. But tune in for that. Rants and Raves, whether Night Strike shows up or not, I don't know. He's been hanging out with Pawnery. He's giving up on me because after you hit 200 here, my 200 show, that's the end. There's no more Rants and Raves. So tune in Wednesday night and we'll get things done. Thanks for having me.
Tune in and tune over to Rants and Raves. Very cool. Tupperware, what do you got going on? Anything?
I'll be doing a lot of late night
tomorrow.
Stuff. Yeah, I'll be doing a grandstand tomorrow about everything exactly what was passed in this omnibus bill that was anti-gun stuff.
Okay.
And start naming and shaming everybody that voted for it.
Chewing them out, huh? And G, you're last. You got anything going on? Anything you need to plug?
No, thanks for the link. There's a lot of stuff going on. So just as far as Connecticut, it's a little bit closer to y'all. It's got stuff going on, but then there's all kinds of good stuff too. But we got a lot of stuff. It's an election year, right? So there's going to be a bunch of stuff this year. Good to see everybody.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I saw they were doing a bunch of polls, and there was an article on, they were polling people for Biden and Trump in 2024, and they said it came out that 45% and 45%. If they would do Biden, Trump, or other, you know what I mean? And, the other was like a 10% or whatever. And the article was funny because they said, well, if the mainstream media is saying that it's 45 and 45, then it's probably actually like 35 and 55 or something like that, for Trump, because they wouldn't want to push it. They wouldn't want to say that Trump was ahead. So they said it's a dead heat. I don't know. And Trump obviously hasn't thrown his hat in the ring yet. And this isn't to promote Trump or be a Trump or anything like that, but I just thought it was interesting that they're already doing polls about it, and they don't even have anybody 100% running yet. So we'll see how cracked out Biden gets till then too. I mean, he's got a lot of deteriorating to do till November. So thanks for watching. Thanks for everybody out in the chat. And thank you guys for coming in and participating. I appreciate it. I think we had some good conversations. And keep your ears open, keep your eyes open, your ears open, and your mouth open. And I might try and go live and just do kind of a goofy show sometime this week, maybe, just to play around on the Instagram and have some fun. So watch your notifications for that, and it might pop up. We'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see what kind of week I have. And until then, I appreciate it. Thanks a lot. Take it easy. See ya.